You've done an excellent job of that. And, Inc. 5000, I think 5 years in a row.
6.
6 years, 6 years. Fantastic. Fantastic. Yeah. So kind of jumping ahead, and I just wanted to jump into that. What's your philosophy on marketing and business development? Where do you see this in garnering attention?
Well, I think it's important to educate the public, right? At the end of the day, I learned this in criminal. I've tried a lot of criminal cases. Someone's complete family is destroyed. Their future's destroyed. Their name's been tarnished forever. And how do you get that back, right? And sometimes it's after the trial. And clients still tell me, it's great I have my freedom, but this false accusation has ruined my life. And so I've always thought about it in terms of the clients, and not just one client, but in an injury case, right? You find usually that if there's one victim, there could be thousands, just like Camp Lejeune, right? And maybe there's other military bases, and there's other things that we have to look at. And I think sometimes to get that message out there is extremely important. As lawyers, our job is to educate the public, and if we're not educating the public, we're failing. And yeah, in some ways it comes off as marketing, and it should, because that's what it is, and we need to be honest that we need to drive business. But on the other hand, educating the public about what we do is crucial.
So when you look at that and you're trying to choose a channel, are you looking at just any avenue that can drive attention, like in distribution? I've seen your YouTube channel. You got a few thousand followers on both channels. You've got very strong taglines, in it to win it. How does that play in your message when you're choosing which channels to disperse this message?
It's tough, and I think that's the scariest thing in marketing right now. I mean, keep in mind, 20 years ago, I was mad when the second phone book came out, right? Because it's like, oh, no, I got to advertise in both books. It's going to cost twice as much money. An interesting story was I kind of rode the phone books into their death. I pushed off for a couple of years and said, this isn't worth it. Then right before the phone book died, I had a double truck ad in the front page that I was paying like $5,000 for. And I mean, it was driving a ton of business until the phone books all died. But, in terms of, you've got to test and measure everything, and you don't know what works until you do. And that's really the science of it. Now, you want to test the strong taglines. And if you have enough, I think a big enough team and enough money, you can A/B test, and this works, this doesn't work. But do I really care if it's red works better than blue or whatever? No, I don't care. I want a strong message that builds our brand, that provides some insight into who we are. I don't want to do something generic. If it doesn't excite me and get me fired up, I won't do it. That being said, do you go with OTT, terrestrial television? Are you on YouTube? Are you using social media? Which social media channels? Even TV, there's hundreds of channels, so it's a different game. I generally try to stick with sports and news for when we run on terrestrial TV, because that's where I believe our avatar watches TV. I don't think my avatar watches Judge Judy. I don't think my avatar watches soap operas, but somebody else's might. So the message needs to, I need to create a message that will be strong and resonate with our avatar, but will also be displayed on the proper marketing channels where we think our avatar is hanging out.
Let's break that down a little bit. So some of the audience listening may what's John talking about an avatar here? We're demographics, psychographics. What goes into that? Because I think that's critical, because then you know where to advertise and get the most value for your dollar, since it's so expensive. So how did you go about, what's that process and creating that avatar?
It's figuring out who our best clients are, right? So if we think about our 10 best clients over the past year, where did they come from? Tell me about where they eat. Tell me about their family. Tell me about whether they have a religious preference, what that religious preference is. Tell me about whether they're veterans, whether they have family members who are veterans. What TV programs do they watch? What sports programs do they follow? Looking at all of that and saying, okay, so how do we create a message that resonates with these people, and it doesn't convince them that we're not the right fit, right? We want to make sure that we're the right fit for them. And we know that is going to turn off other people. I'm okay with that. We're pro-veteran, we're pro-athlete. Look, we would rather represent the 42-year-old CFO who's in the car accident, who's got the 3 kids that he's trying to send through college, than the 30-year-old kid who lives in his parents' basement and his fingers are stained with Cheeto dust from playing video games all day and eating Cheetos. So our avatar is, who do we want to represent? And in my mind, I took this from Dan Sullivan, but who do you want to be a hero to? We get to decide who we're a hero to. And that's my avatar. Who do I want to represent? Who's my ideal client? And so I build my marketing message around that. Now, I could make it to encompass everyone, but I'm not afraid of alienating people who are not our avatar. I don't want everybody. I'd love to have all the veterans, but and a lot of the athletes, but I don't want to keep everybody happy. That's not my role in life. My role is to find somebody that I want to be a hero to.